Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Cave Rain 2 Soothsayer. And I realized something. I am kind of an idiot. I want to show you why. You see, when I was reading this, I kinda had problems reading it because the text was cut off. Guess why? If you hold down the left mouse button, you can pull this down. Yay! Stretch the kind of. But hey, I found it out, so I'm maybe not so dumb. So let's read the whole article. I already read this, so let's go with the rest. We are told by sources in the Cassidy Police Department that there was no sign of a break-in, and no items of value were stolen. The cause of this came as no surprise. Acute blood loss caused by sharp force trauma. Yeah, because we got stabbed. The circumstances surrounding the crime are strikingly similar to the original casualty of a Soothsayer, Rose Taylor. Also, a middle-aged woman stabbed to death in her home. This makes 5 victims in 3 months, and the lack of results on the case is starting to anger the citizens of Cassidy. Mayor Adams gave the following statements on May 11th. I'll be the first to admit that I hope to see swifter progress concerning these killings. We plan to evaluate more radical measures in the coming weeks. The chief of police had no comment. Here you go. Sinclair with a situation your party. We are devastated to report that the 5th victim of Soothsayer was none other than acclaimed author Deborah Sinclair, one of the most recognized faces of Cassidy. Loyal readers of Sinclair may realize that the previous victim, Jane Doe, was slain on the publication anniversary of Storm Chaser, one of Sinclair's classic novels. That I found out without this article, and I'm still proud about it. A simple coincidence, or do these murders have a deeper connection to the author? I could imagine. The murder occurred in Sinclair's famous writer's retreat near the border of a national park. The National Park Service, NPS, was first on the site and is currently in control of the crime scene. As the NPS lacks the necessary training and resources to conduct murder investigations, we should expect that the crime scene will soon be handed over to the Soothsayer Task Force at the KPD. For now, the body has been transported to a city morgue, awaiting clearance for a pathological examination. Chief Ranger Samuel Walker had the following comment. We are still establishing all of the facts surrounding this crime. Please be patient. We want to do right by Deborah. Deborah Sinclair was a long-time friend of the Gazette and led a prolific life with more than 30 novels published during her lifetime. On this sad day, we mourn the loss of a cultural icon, and we pray that her death will be the last at the hands of a vile Soothsayer. Oh, we'll make sure of it. I hope. I will continue reading here. Due to the state of the remains, Jane Doe's identity has been difficult to ascertain. Despite indication of dental work on the corpse, there were no matchmaking dental records anywhere in the city, leading the police to believe that the woman was not local. The lack of a struggle could mean that the victim was incapacitated, but the condition of the body gives little clarity on that matter. Mayor Adams offered his comment. As unpleasant it is, I must ask you to be patient. Let Ed, Cassidy Chief of Police, Edgar Mitchell Brown, and his team to do their job. KPT has my full confidence in this matter, and City Hall stands vigilant to assist any way we can. For extensive coverage of the previous victim, Deacon Townseed, see issue number 842. This is 845, and this is not the Cassidy Gazette is with Cassidy's son, so it's a different newspaper. We will need this date. I'll show you why. Soothsayer strikes again. Task force established. Edgar Mitchell Brown. Oh yeah, okay. Here we go. The Soothsayer has claimed a fourth victim, an unidentified woman estimated to have been 18 years old. Her charred remains were found on the outskirts of Cassidy, near the overlook at Constance Hill. The cause of death is yet to be determined. The Soothsayer victims do not seem to share any obvious similarities in terms of gender, age, occupation, or social class. And the killing methods, location and disposal of bodies are all different. However, the killings have all occurred within the greater Cassidy area over a period of 3 months, which would indicate that the Soothsayer is somewhat local to the area. In related news, the Cassidy Chief of Police has recently announced that the investigation of these killings will be taken over by the newly created Soothsayer Task Force. Edgar Mitchell Brown said the following during a press conference on April 26th. As of May the 1st, the so-called Soothsayer slayings will be investigated by a dedicated force of ex-senior detectives, handpicked from various divisions at the Cassidy Police Department. Rest assured that this elite group has every resource at their disposal. I'm going to assume we are going to meet them. When asked whether or not the FBI would be involved, Mitchell Brown replied, "There is no federal jurisdiction in this case. I have no further comment. We will take it. The Gazette has frequently criticized the Cassidy Police Department for their errors in the past, but credit where credit's due, this is a step in the right direction." Alright, now we need to find issue number 842. So April the 29th is where this issue came out, and those are weekly news, so '29th was it, right? 44, 43, 42, it should have been finished.
Yes, this should be the right date. Let's see here. Okay, let's have a look.
And this time I will read all of it. Soothsayer stages suicide of prolific deacon. We are sad to report that a third member of our community has been taken out by the so-called Soothsayer, who appears to be Cassidy's first serial killer. The victim's name was Benedict Townsend, age 51. Our sources say that his death occurred on April the 3rd, and that Townsend was likely murdered in a staged suicide by hanging. Townsend served as a deacon at the King of Kings Catholic Church, an old congregation dating back to the early 1900s. He was a beloved figure in the community, well known for his voluntary work. Reverend Hugh Winters, the pastor of the King of Kings, had the following to say: "My heart asks for Ben's soul, and everything he had left to give to the world. But I take some comfort in the fact that he is with the Lord now. And for the person or persons who did this to my friend, know that there will be a reckoning. Murder is a sin most vile. God sees all." The King of Kings remains open as the crime occurred in the adjacent rectory building. However, the rectory will remain under lock and key and until properly consecrated. Soothsayer linked to 3 murders, serial killer on the loose, 3 killings in 2 months, connected by foreboding signature. Ooh, we do a lot of reading today. Ah well, that's what we do, eh? We love reading. I actually do. Deacon Benedict Townsend, age 51, was found dead early on April 4th in the rectory of the King of Kings Catholic Church. The cause of death was determined to be hanging, but suicide has been ruled out by the KPD. An anonymous police source had the following to say. Somebody else was involved. The positioning of the body and our logistics don't add up if he was alone. The scenario was eerily similar to that of Eric Holloway, the postman who met his demise on that ominous full moon night last month. His death was initially treated as suicide, but later revised to homicide. Now, the Gazette brings you the exclusive scoop. Both of these killings, as well as the brutal stabbing of nurse Rose Taylor back in February, are linked by an object left at the scene. A shattered obsidian mirror, a colloquial referred to as a scrying mirror. These mirrors have been used since ancient times to see future or communicate with the spirit world. Does the Soothsayer responsible for these murders have a religious motive? Our source continues. It's a signature. The killer is no hack. He hasn't left any other forensic evidence that can be traced back to him, so Romeo has to be deliberate. Townsend was killed. He was killed, but he was also well-liked. A well-liked figure in the community, known for his charity work and a long-time member of the church. Cassidy Chief of Police Edgar Mitchell Brown gave the following statement. We are not classifying these homicides as serial offenses at this time, but trust that we have our finest on the case. We urge our readers to demand that Mitchell Brown recognize that the citizens of Cassidy have been cursed with our first serial killer in recorded history. We even got three things to know.
Okay, I'll make sure to look into that church later and maybe find the address. For now, let's move on to victim number 2.
Okay. Full moon.
I'm on the right track with this date, but I think I've got the full moon and the new moon confused.
Oh. I would be surprised if there's something a little bit mystical or religious, because in the first game there was something similar with mysticism and religion. The games really like to treat around the edge of something like that. I don't want to go too much into the details, because I want to play the first game too, and I know what is going on, more or less, but I want to act like you don't know. I'm sure some of you already played it. It's a good game.
Yes, this should be the right date. Let's see here.
Oh, that makes me sad. Prominent suicide morphs into homicide. Oh, Eric's his name. Initially reported as a suicide, the death of Eric Holloway on March 12 has been officially reclassified by KPD as a homicide. Since this public death occurred, multiple reliable witnesses have come forward claiming that the victim was pushed off the roof of a building at 4th Vernon Street. However, there are no detailed description of a perpetrator, likely due to the limited illumination of the roof area at night. Holloway led a quiet and simple life, working as a mailman for the city, and is said to have been well liked by his peers. However, there are unverified reports of mental health problems related to the death of his fiancée last year. Oh, wait a minute. This could be interesting. Police sources told us that there are links to the brutal mortal stabbing of nurse Rose Taylor on statehood day. We were reluctant to share further details of an ongoing investigations. You know, wasn't it said that the scrying mirror was used to talk to spirits and see into the future? Interestingly, there's a game called At Dead of Night if I remember the title correctly, where you had to use the scrying mirror to communicate with ghosts. Cool game. I don't know if we'll play it because I'm not a horror game player. However, I'm tempted. On Thursday, March the 12th, at roughly 8 p.m., a 32-year-old man leapt from a roof of a 4-story apartment building at Vernon Street, instantly killing himself on the pavement below, making a grisly spectacle for neighbors and bystanders alike. Friends and neighbors claim that the victim had struggled with the death of his girlfriend, but no suicide note has been recovered. Events like this reiterate that mental health and grief counseling should be a national concern, with more resources available for vulnerable people in crisis. If you or anyone know is having suicidal thoughts, you can reach the National Suicide Hotline at this number available 24. Yeah, that's important to know.
Eric's address isn't too far away, but I should learn all I can here before I visit any of the crime scenes. Coming up last, the very first victim of the Soothsayer.
Wait. When was again? No, wait. It was some sort of special day. I think I will remember it. Not St. Patrick's Day? Statehood Day, yes.
Yes, this should be the right date. Let's see here.
Sutton is responsible for motel slaughter. A brutal stabbing occurred at the Ace of Sky Motel on February 5th, and our sources now say there is no occult angle to the killing, with some sort of artifact left on the scene. The husband of the victim was briefly detained but later released a day later. Law enforcement claims that the remains of a person of interest, however, and confirmed that the cause of death was multiple stab wounds to his chest. No, it's chest. Now that doesn't look so interesting for now. Now I have to think back of a movie Psycho. Motel murder motivates management. On February 7th, Rose Amanda Taylor, aged 47, was found dead by Robert Tippett, the owner of the Ace of Sky Motel. Taylor had been stabbed to death by an unknown perpetrator. Blood everywhere, like the goddamn butcher room. Tippett says, wide-eyed, and continues to emphasize, "This city is going to hell. You go ahead and print that." Neighbors report hearing a commotion from the room, but was apparently a regular occurrence, so no one went to investigate. Taylor is survived by her husband and 2 children who have declined a request to be interviewed. The husband was briefly detained but is no longer considered a suspect. If you have any information about the murder of Rose Taylor, please contact Cassidy Police Department under this number.
Alright, that should be everything on the microfilms. I think I'll continue to focus on gathering information today and then head to each of the murder sites tomorrow.
Ooh, I got an achievement for that. But yeah, what does my note say?
I think I'll look into that church next, the King of Kings. There was no mention of an address for it in the newspapers.
I asked for people to carry, maybe he knows where it is. Or he can tell us about a good book about this.
One more thing.
Yes?
Do you know anything about the King of Kings Catholic Church?
I'm not familiar with that church, sorry.
Are you familiar with the Azure Sky Motel?
I'm afraid not.
What do you know about scrying mirrors?
Not much, unfortunately. They're not within my area of expertise.
Thanks. I'll come back if I have more questions.
Very well. Good luck.
I think I know where we can find the address. We just need to look up in the telephone book, I think. Yeah, I clicked on the... But I really like this. Oh, you can even see her eyes behind the glasses. That's cool.
Looking for something to pounce on? Oh, I bet. I call her Judy, the most... Yeah, right, you sicko.
Sorry.
I don't want to show that to her.
Okay, I have to drag and drop. Maybe if I use both together.
What am I even trying to...
Looking up the address.
Great. I've got the address to the church. I'll head over there tomorrow. I think it's time to see what I can find about the Azure Sky Motel. It's likely in this phone book here. Got the number. I'll call first and see if a visit makes sense. God knows I have to be careful with those last drops of gas left in the bike.
Don't worry, you have more than enough. It will go out when it's necessary for a game.
Thank you for calling the Azure Sky Motel, your oasis in Cassidy. How may I help you?
Hi there. This is Kathy Rain from Rain Investigations. I have some questions.
Ooh,
All right then.
he already knows what's going on.
What can you tell me about your motel?
The Azure Sky is a long-time family business. We've been serving tenants faithfully for over 40 years now.
Oh, wow, quite a while. So, how many tenants do you have?
We don't keep records of the number of tenants, but we have 50 rooms of varied sizes. We're about 3/4 full, but expecting to be fully booked during tourist season in the summer.
Wait, tourists actually come to Cassidy? Somebody deserves a raise for one hell of a marketing campaign.
No patriot of the community, huh? That's a shame. This city has a lot more to offer than people like you give it credit for.
To each their own, I guess.
Nah,
I don't need to ask him about anything in the room.
tell him about the cat, he will be...
I don't need to ask him about...
Okay.
So, I hear that one of your tenants was murdered back in February? Rose Taylor.
No shit. Here I thought the boys in blue ransacked this whole place just for shits and giggles.
That happens more often than you'd think. Come on, man. Help a girl out.
Sorry for the attitude, but you know you're the umpteenth person to ask about that, right?
I get that, so how about we stick with the short version?
Fine. No, I don't know anything that isn't in the papers. No, you can't see the room. It's rented out, and even if you did go in there, there's nothing that the cops or cleaners haven't removed since friggin' February.
Understood. So, what about the next of kin? She had a husband, right?
Yeah, he came by later to pick up the personal effects. I just met the guy for a few minutes.
Did you catch his name?
I did, but I don't think he'd appreciate me giving out his name to some random lady on the phone. No offense.
I am a bit offended, actually. I'm not some random lady. I'm a licensed private investigator and a renowned one at that. Ever hear of the Whitmore affair?
That does sound familiar.
Well, that was me. Now, here's a friendly piece of advice. Choose the path of least resistance. I can be a much bigger pain in the ass than this Mr. Taylor, believe me.
All right, fine. It's Orson. Orson Taylor.
That wasn't so hard, was it? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Damn, it was good. I feel bad for that guy, but it has to be done.
Do you know anything about scrying mirrors?
Only that our psycho killer enjoys breaking them around his victims, but I have no interest in understanding a nut like that.
What do you know about the Soothsayer?
I know more than I'd like to. I could have gone without a close view of his handiwork, that's for sure.
I can imagine. A brutal stabbing, I take it?
No offense, but I'd rather not go over that again. It's all in the papers, if you're so dead set on getting all the gory details.
I feel really bad for him. The time's actually over, but I want to drag it a little bit out. At least talk with him about everything.
What can you tell me about Orson Taylor, Rose's husband?
Nothing much. Like I said, I only saw the guy once, a week or so after the murder.
Okay. How do you seem?
Like you'd expect. Messed up. Couple of kids, too. Breaks my heart, truth be told.
So, if Rose was married and had 2 children, what was she doing in your motel?
Now that's the million-dollar question, ain't it? You'll get no answer from me, even if I could keep track of all of our tenants. I don't make a habit of sticking my nose in their personal affairs.
Huh. Was she a regular then?
Not really, just a couple of bookings in January and February. Look, I think I've said enough. Any other questions? We need to wrap this up. I've got calls on the other line.
That's all, thanks.
You're welcome. Have a great day now.
Well, I can't really say here that he was, unfriendly. He did his best. But let's look this up.
All right, found the husband's number. Here's hoping he's willing to talk to me.
Yeah, we will see about that. But not today, because time's over. And we're getting some good clues together. Maybe I should take more time for videos for this game, because we are doing good progress, but I hope it's not going too slow for a let's play. I will see it next time. So I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and goodbye and have a nice day. See you soon.